Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unconventional GMs, the channel where we play tabletop role-playing games with pace, vim, and vigor, and try different one-shots all the time. And we're trying a different one-shot today. I'm Guy from, this and Burn After Running blog, and I'm the GM today. I'm running a game of Cortex Prime Hammerheads. It's the near future. Climate change and unrestricted commercial exploitation have led to multiple environmental disasters and breakdowns. So an international team has been formed of hammerheads recruited from a variety of services and with a wide range of, you might think, relevant and sometimes possibly irrelevant experience to pilot their hammerhead machines to go and deal with these crises. And we've assembled, as you would imagine, a crack team of hammerheads for you today. Competent professionals, all expert heroes, ready to go. So let's meet them and meet the characters they're going to play as well. Starting with my co-host on this, Gaz. Who are you and who are you playing?
Hello, everyone. I'm Gaz. I'm one half of Unconventional GMs. We're going to play this time, so that's good. I'm also one half of the What Would the Smart Party Do podcast, the UK's premier RPG podcast. So go and check that out. Today, I am playing the Austrian Olympic skier, bronze medalist Johann Schmidt. I may or may not try an accent. It may come and go. I may offend some people on the continent. Who knows? I might get excarded or something else and told to stop. So we'll see how that goes. But Johann's a late middle-aged guy, so this will be a stretch for me. He's got kind of grey stubble and a winning smile. Unlike me, though, he's balding. My hair's so lush that my barber chose to be double. But yes, he's kind of like, he still wears the tracksuits and that kind of thing, but bulging around the middle, so that the zip sometimes breaks on the bottom of his tracksuit and starts to undo from the bottom upwards because he's been still eating the 5,000 calories a day he used to as an Olympian, but doing a lot less of the exercise. But he's going to be the team leader. He's got the most experience. He knows all about firefighting and emergency medicine and all that kind of stuff. He's kind of like the logistic behind the team, the old man, the avuncular figure that can give advice to the young whippersnappers. And he's hoping to make life better for other people, having had such a good one himself.
Fantastic. Great to meet Daredevil. Shane, who are you playing today?
Hi there. So yeah, I'm Shane. I'm neither a podcaster nor anybody particularly famous. I'm just here to play a cool game of cool people. I'm playing Julia Newman, call sign Chewie. Julia's fly by the seat of her pants attitude cost her place in the astronaut program, but found her a place in the Hammerheads, where somebody with her pilot and technical skills and her willingness sometimes to just get things done means she brings an asset to the team.
Fantastic. Jag, who are you playing?
Hello, I'm Jag. I'm just a gamer. And today I am playing Dr. Idris Khan, also known as Bones, a tall, dark, and handsome celebrity doctor that housewives and innocent bystanders that got caught up in the carnage that we leave behind occasionally are more than happy to, wave a hand to and say, actually, they did a good job. And sometimes we get beat up and the guys need a bit of patching up, and that's what I'm doing for them.
Lovely, fantastic. And finally, Alex, who are you playing? Oh, you're muted, Alex.
Goodness me. Hello, I'm Alex. Not much of an introduction necessary. I'm just here to play. Today, I'm playing Lex Wildcard dos Santos, perhaps the brains of the outfit, or at least they think so themselves. They're kind of a skilled hacker with good technical knowledge, but perhaps with a little bit of a shady past that they're looking to run away from as they run straight into danger. I think they're probably one of the younger members of the team, kind of a sort of a cool but unconventional sort of a geek chic style that makes them stand out. Imagine kind of horn-rimmed glasses that belie their young age, yeah, hopefully will bring more than physical attributes to the group.
Fantastic, fantastic. And yeah, just to be clear, we have got some safety tools in play, for not just for the sake of Gaz's potential accent that he does, but an X card. We'll type in chat or just exit if anything comes up that's problematic. It's not really, it's a pulpy game. We don't really expect anything to charge it unless like natural disasters or something that triggers people. But obviously people can make up stuff. All the players are responsible for making up stuff. So you never know what you're going to stand on. So if that happens, obviously we'll probably edit that bit out, but we'll step back and do it and come back to it. And remember, while you're about to embark on it, so you don't lose the plot thread, now's when you can like and subscribe and click that bell and make sure that you don't miss any more episodes of Unconventional GMs. With that in place, Hammerheads, you need to buckle up. You need to take Hammerhead 2 to a developing situation in Brazil. One of the Amazon dams has suffered a breach of unknown origin. A whole town, Santa Cristobal, is flooded and needs evacuating. The dam company, THT, are refusing to let first responders into the area, saying that they need to deal with it themselves before it's dealt with. But you know that won't stop the Hammerheads from getting there. We suspect there might be something up. That dam's only 3 years old. A burst of that thing must be suspicious. We don't know what the origin of it is. And so we cut to Hammerhead 2, a pacey VTOL aircraft as it flies above the Amazon rainforest, and we see this blue dam. No, the dam's not blue. Obviously, the water behind it's blue in front of us. I'm imagining that piloting it is probably Chewie. That's probably your role there. But you're sort of all on the bridge, looking around and doing it. That's a reminder, Shane, to check the vehicle's rules. We'll work them through with you as you go for it. You can fly above, you can see the cleared forest and the protected areas beneath it. And just to the side of the dam, there's where all the like soon to be extinct Amazonian flora and fauna has been preserved under greenhouses for the wealthy to see and exploit for the tourists. You can see how much electricity this dam must, when it works, be this big water dam power plants linking to it. But it's obvious even as you approach from far off, something is very wrong. The top of the dam is intact and it's got concrete pump station buildings, but you can see the occasional sort of arc of electricity jumping across from them. And the air, as you come closer to it, is thick with ozone. And behind this, you can see the smell of waste and a breach, and the whole side of one bit of it has burst. And you can see beyond a small, fairly isolated town that probably has become larger to service the people that are working and maintaining the dam, and all of that infrastructure is indeed flooded up to the first floor of a lot of buildings, but the water is still flowing out. You can see villagers there on top of houses and things waving as they see your craft come into view, bits of fabric to try and get your attention. On top of the concrete dam buildings, you can see that THT has corporate security there already, and it doesn't look like they're looking to let anybody else into these buildings. You will know, particularly sort of the more technical of you, so Wildcard and Chewie, that there'll be emergency pumps controllable in those buildings that you could trigger to shut this flood down and stop any further breaches. That would obviously mean that the electricity supply would end. But it doesn't look like these security goons that are standing around look like they're going to let anyone in. And also just glancing around Daredevil as you scan the skies to see anything, you can see there's a couple of trucks have just come into view on the outskirts of the town, and some camo-clad men are sort of rolling out, and you can see a few of them attempting to, well, purportedly rescue villagers, but they don't seem to be rescuing them in a particularly like friendly or helpful way. It involves sort of tying them up and taking them into their trucks for whatever means to be going through. They've all got sort of old AK-47s, and there's a few of them like firing shots into the air, of which the villagers don't know sort of which way to go. So the scene is set. I'll just give you a bit of game terminology. In Hammerheads, you have crisis pools that you have to solve. So there are 3 in play here. You've got the flooded town and the villagers therein. That's got a 5d6, so 5 6-sided dice in that crisis pool. You've got the opportunistic raiders that are assembling by the town. They're a 3d8 dice pool. And you've also got the emergency pump failure, which is a 4d8 dice pool on account of you needing to get access to it and get past the security to get in and somehow trigger it from there. As we set the scene on Hammerhead, as you come in and start doing it with the camera pans, I think, to Daredevil. What's your general plan, do you think? How do you want to resolve your resources? And also, as team leader, you get to decide who goes first, and then they can decide which crisis pool they want to tackle and how.
Right, so we've not discussed pre the game, like what everything looks like or what happens. So we could sort of make that up now, right? We can decide amongst ourselves kind of what we're doing.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think we all have berets because we've described ourselves looking different, but I think there's going to be a way we identify ourselves as Hammerhead Rescue or whatever. So we've got like special berets that we wear. So that was the important thing to get settled first. I think I'm going to go first, and I know I've got to get some guys access to this dam, because if that breaks, it won't matter about the flooding or whatever, who's down there. Like, everyone's going to get subsumed by down. So I'm viewing that as our priority, and I'm going to set myself the task of trying to clear away the security, and then I'm going to start assigning jobs to the team to kind of like spread out. And there might be little mini vehicles that come out of our main vehicle or something that they could use or whatever. But I'll let the players themselves decide how they go about that when it comes to it. I think it's probably the best way to do it. So
okay.
Initially, like this, it's kind of like rope rappel thing, Black Hawk Down style, where the Hammerhead vehicle's being flown in. But before it's got there, I've already got my ski goggles down of my beret, and there's a rope come out, and I'm like rappelling down so that I can land by the security team at the top of the dam to start trying to clear the way before the rest of my team's even got there yet.
Fantastic. So how this works is you are tackling the emergency pump failure crisis pool. It's a 48 pool, and I will roll it. So the total that you're trying to beat is the 2 highest dice. So you need to get a total of 12 on your 2 highest and hope that you get an effect dice. The way effect dice work is that if you get a D8 or higher, it'll knock one of those D8s off. If it's below D8, it'll just step it down to a D6. So it'll make the thing worse. If anyone rolls the 1s, funky stuff happens. So be ready for that as well. So do you want to build your dice pool, guys? You get an attribute, a training package, and a distinction. And if any of the other players want to narrate how they help you, they can give you their helping dice. Everyone can help sort of once in a turn, if that makes sense. So you can expect, like, don't be stingy with help. If you can think of a way that your help might work, that would do. So go ahead, guys. What's your dice pool looking like?
Yeah, I'm starting out with my social, because it's a D10. And also because I'm going to bluster my way through, basically. I've got a training package around crowd control. So I'm going to be like using my authority to kind of move them back, tell them that we've got 200 people in our vehicle that are coming out and they need to move around. I'm going to point to the village and all the people that are going to be displaced. And I'm going to basically just like starting to push them around, ordering them and telling them what to do and saying what needs to happen. And I don't want to hear it as they start speaking and put like hands to the lips. No, this needs to happen. You need to go over there. What are you doing stood there? Oh my God. And with age comes experience. So I've done this loads of times where I've had to like bluster my way through things or reorganize people amongst international communities on the Olympic scene. So I'm going to add a D8 for my aged experience as well.
Fantastic. Is anyone helping you? If it's not obvious, you don't have to, but if you can think of a way. It sounds like you go on.
Yeah, I can. I think I can potentially offer some help here. I can give Daredevil a D8 because I think he's dependable, and I think this is the kind of thing where he'll be able to deal with the situation and not escalate it, which is potentially the risk. I had a little bit of time in the Hammerhead to scan over kind of company documents that I could kind of find on the web, and so I'm able to provide him with some kind of protocols that they might use, some terms that makes him look authoritative, and maybe even some names of leadership that he can just drop to make it look like, you know, he's meant to be here.
Yeah, so I keep cocking my head strangely every now and again for a weird pause. And then go, this is a Tango 6 situation. Do you think that Lieutenant Colonel Jenkins is going to be happy with your performance? Look at his badge, Davison. It's Tango 6, man. Why are you still stood there? And then I'll roll my dice and see like that.
Yeah, well, see how confused they look otherwise.
Yeah.
If they looked at Tango 6, well.
So our 2 highest are 16.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it?
Which is more than 12, I think. Is that how it works?
It is. That's how it works. So you have beaten them, and you can use either the D8 or the D10 as effect dice.
I'll use the D8 because it's bigger, or the result was bigger.
D10 is bigger. Yeah. Well, no, the result.
Or it's a dice type.
The result doesn't matter on the effect dice. The dice type is what happens.
Oh right, yeah. Cool.
That will be completely successful. You can knock off one of those D8s. So the crisis pool just goes down to 3d8. So yeah, I think their confusion at Tango 6. One of them in the background is like Tango 6, Tango 6, and they do seem to be. They have a sort of little conflab with each other. And I don't know if you want to take over that maybe gives you the authority to actually get in there as they're consulting with each other.
Yeah, as they're looking at bamboozled, then my friends in the Hammerhead knows this is the point to fire one of the signal flares, and a big orange flare goes off, followed by 5 others as the Tango 6 signal goes off, and that leaves them all around in a flurry looking for where their flagon is to respond and what to do. And someone's got a manual out, they're flipping through, going like, "We're never thought we'd have to break up on this package." It's like taking the seal off the binder. I'd like to work out what to do. So while they're confused, I'm doing the go, go, go symbol to my people to try and get some in there to sort out the dam.
Fantastic, fantastic. So Daredevil's acted, your team leader. So you get to choose who goes next as well. That crisis pool is down to 3d8.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to pass the baton on to Wildcard as he helped me out, or they helped me out initially. So I'm excited them to follow up.
Yeah, so Wildcard's it's not really their style to sit sequestered away in the Hammerhead. So if we've got our kind of big ramp open that we use to deploy, Hammerhead is kind of crouched down within it with some kind of harness on to kind of, you know, keep them secure and safe within the Hammerhead, but so that they can really get a proper view of everything that's down below. They've got their kind of laptop in front of them with a headset on, and then some kind of cool like tactical telescope that they can use to survey. But in terms of getting this emergency pump failure online, their first approach is going to be some kind of social engineering, I think, so we can get a bit of info and maybe get some more technical details about the dam itself, so we can access these high-end pumps. So what I've got up on my computer is the name of some kind of technical specialist who's probably, you know, way far away in the nearest city, maybe Sao Paulo, something like that. And I'm going to call them and just hopefully using the veneer of crisis to make them panic and not follow proper security protocols, and get some kind of codes and technical specifications for the pump station itself. So I just send a slightly panic sounding but kind of everyday normal kind of sounding call and say, "Hey, yeah, I'm just on site here at the dam. I'm sure you know what's happening, and we just need to get into those emergency pumps. Just need to kind of check them over, survey the situation. Just forgotten the kind of first end password to get through the firewall. Could you just remind me, you know, the standard security company codes, that kind of thing?"
And I think you've forgotten the first end password. So I'll roll my target number now. We'll see how that goes. So you're tackling the pump failure crisis pool. Still, you can you can target them all at once. You didn't have to do the same one, but that fits. So I'll roll my 3d8 now because it's a little bit lower than that. So yeah, your total that you have to beat is a mere 6. Okay.
Lovely.
So he's like, front end password. Let me check that for you. Do you want to build your pool and roll and see where we get to with that?
Yeah. So I am using my social attributes, which are not my all-time best, but it kind of fits my approach here. My distinction is high-end criminal hacker, so I'm used to making these kind of calls to get passwords before. And I've used technical analyst here because I'm hoping I can use it to sort of sound what I'm talking about, if that all sounds okay.
Fantastic. Somebody can help you if they want.
Yeah, I'm going to add in my technical analyst at D6 as well, because I'll be shouting from the back going, "We need the password, damn it, what's taking so long?"
So sorry,
Okay.
you add your relationship dice, not your so it's your relationship dice. That's yeah.
Well, people know I've got technical analyst D6 now as well, so I'm backing it up properly. But
Yeah.
my relationship with wildcards is a D6 as well. And you know, my sort of like the name tag that goes with that is good for a laugh. So I'm almost guffawing in the background as I'm winding up this other technician in Sao Paulo.
And I'm like, God, well, you could probably hear him, but you know what it's going to be like. If my supervisor has to talk to your supervisor, I mean, goodness me, this flood's one thing, but that'd be quite another.
To do the protocols again, right? Yeah, let's roll. Okay, so I think that's an 11.
Yes.
So I've got sort of good news and bad news for you with this roll. So the good news is that 11 beats the total by 5. So that means you can actually step up your effect dice. You can't use the D8 for an effect dice because you rolled a 1. So that is technically, in the game terms, a hitch. And I have a few options for things that I can do with that. But you could step up that. You can step up that D6 and get a D8 effect because you beat it by so much.
Okay.
So if do you want to sort of describe how you get that password and get the protocols in, because that will step it down. But I am going to give you a plot point, so you've now got 2 to trigger that hitch and create a complication, which is going to be floating around, and you will have to sort of roll against as well. And I'll tell you what that is after you've sort of done your narration bit to get in, if that makes sense, Alex.
Nice one. Yeah. Okay. So I think that I'm able to really push them. So at first, this person I'm talking to obviously is trying to follow standard procedure. So I have to sound like I'm getting quite emotional and panicked and worried and kind of scared. And so I just kind of, emotionally browbeat them into give me all the info I want, give me the kind of the first stage of the password. I'm even able to get a few more tips from them to get through the kind of first layer of this firewall to get into the dam. But I'm clearly doing everything, absolutely against protocol. And they say, oh, well, we'll call you back soon just to follow all the security procedures. But, I don't want to put any more on your plate right now. So potentially raising, obviously the complication is up to you guys, but potentially kind of raising suspicion at who we are and what we're doing here.
Yeah. I think in a back room, we see in one of the in one of the concrete offices, there's a like phone rings, and we hear this sort of indistinct voice barking and chuckling at this sort of overweight chief saying, what do you mean the IP address was wrong? What, from here? What, that's impossible. And we see him click a switch, and even from outside you can see a little alarm has started going off as if there's been some security breach. They don't quite know that it's you, but they are on alert. So we've got a security breach alarm complication. That's just 1d6, but it can be used I can use that whenever it's relevant, really, if that makes sense. But the emergency pump failure is only at 2d8 now. You've still got the opportunistic raiders and the flooded town to tackle, though. Daredevil, who's up next?
It's definitely time for Chewie, because he's driving the vehicle, so he can do something dramatic at this point. So I'll give the thumbs up symbol from the top of the dam.
Okay, so Chewie pops chewing gum, but from which she got her name. Does the spin up symbol back and turns Hammerhead 2 round and hammers, pun absolutely intended, down towards those opportunistic raiders. Because as part of coming here, we were assigned some resources and equipment. So reaching into the tactical support resources of Hammerhead 2, I am going to buzz fast and hard down over the opportunistic raiders, and I'm going to drop some tear gas canisters that we have on hand in case we ever need to do the more aggressive forms of crowd control to try and drive them back away from the people.
Lovely. So I'll roll my we see these raiders like look up and they momentarily stop kidnapping all these people as they see you dive above it, and there's some like bullets fired in the air and shouts in sort of a mixture of panic and defiance, as they hadn't quite relied on this. But let's see how defiant they are with their pretty defiant, actually. So that's a 14 target number you're going to have to beat. So sure. So Shane, just for the vehicle, because you're in a vehicle, you can use Hammerhead. You can use its attribute instead of yours, and you can use both your distinction and the Hammerhead's distinction, if you see what I mean, as well as your skill.
So I'll be absolutely using the fast engines of Hammerhead 2, as I am coming in fast and hard to scare them. And my Hammerhead pilot distinction, training package fits here. I am definitely flying by the seat of my pants here, because bombing people with CS gas was not part of standard airline training.
Well, you were a commercial pilot as well.
Well, yes, commercial pilots, flunked out astronaut, and in this case, what I would like to do is I'd like to add in resource support vehicle and switch it out for a D4 to gain a plot point, because this isn't actually a a vehicle designed for strafing runs, and I'm also going to add on one of the D6 from the resource pool of tactical. Unless team leader, are you happy I use 2 of the 3? Make a real impression on these jokers.
Do it.
Yeah, those are one-off
Okay.
resources. But yeah, it totally fits to put the D4 in. You have the plot point for that. Because yeah, it's something like where you're dropping the tear gas canisters from. That they're meant to hold like parachutes and like medical supplies and things. You strip them all out and put those in. What a pool! Right, let's see.
Unfortunately, so you got a 14, right? I got a 15.
Yeah.
With the D10 and D8. I'm going to keep a D10 effect die, and I'm also going to spend that plot point I just got to include a second effect die.
Lovely. So you've used the D8 and a D10 in the effect. So that second effect die will be a D6. So what that does is it steps another dice down. So the dice pool is going to go from 2D8 to a D8 and a D6 from there. As that means that your strafing run seems to be quite effective. Do you want to just narrate how this works? I mean, I think we can picture it, but how the raiders respond to this?
Yeah, so scream overhead and almost sort of negligently pop open the side window of the cockpit and just begin to pile tear gas grenades out of the window completely, without a care for where the aircraft's going until the last minute, and then pull the hammerhead up, and the wash creates that bow wave in the water as the hammerhead takes it nose up and then begins to pull away. As it's out the way, we see behind where it was, we see the raiders, a number of them in the tear gas crowd, coughing and choking.
Yeah. Some of them are like diving into the water to try and like wash themselves off. In the background, though, just emerging to try and like get some restore some semblance of discipline to these raiders. You see a one-eyed raid leader come out, and he steps forward with a like machine gun in his hand, fires it in the air, and they all sort of cow a little bit, like tears still streaming down their cheeks. But they clearly respond to him as Jesus San Marco, the raid leader, appears. So he's on the scene now. Daredevil, it's up to you. Who goes next? You could choose Bones, or you could choose one of the 3 crisis pools.
No, well, I normally save Bones till last because after basically after Chewie's been, normally we need Bones to do something. So yeah, I'm going to tag Bones in just in case there's some of the villagers need medical treatment or something else he's doing. But yeah, we'll let Bones have a go before we look to see what effect all that's had with the crisis pools.
Cool. So
Bones
just
is here
to be
with
clear,
remedial
Jack,
options.
So just to be clear, if you want to narrate that you're off the hammerhead now and sort of rappel down or something, that's fine as well. We can do it in sort of whatever time you want. You don't need to.
Yeah, totally. The tear gas is just clearing, and Bones is there with his mask on, and he pulls it out just as the cloud of smoke is disappearing, and he holds up his very designer kind of medicine bag, kit bag there, and he strolls in confidently in his very smart clothes, slicks back his sleek back hair, and looks around and makes sure that that looks like the leader, Jesus. And as he's going past, he's kind of like, okay, yeah, you know me. Yes, I am that doctor from the TV, from the air broadcast. That's me. And I'm going past all the crowd, making sure that they're all right. I'm using my social and my marine recovery to get a little bit of kind of like bit of authenticity about going in there to kind of help out, but I just can't help myself that I am playing on my past to be someone who might be recognized, and that might be a little bit a thing that undermines my my presence as someone who can support the raiders to get the thing that they want done, as well as the villagers. So I want to flip my celebrity doctor distinction that I want to want to use here to a D4.
Cool. You get a plot point for that. Do you want to just clarify which of the crisis pools you're targeting? Are you targeting the
opportunistic raiders?
The raiders. Cool. So I'll roll then. I'm going to roll in Jesus. Adds a D8 to that as well. Now he's on the scene because he's outside of a crisis pool. He's an NPC. As fully realised as a 1D8 dice, but maybe we'll learn more about him. So we'll just see what you've got to beat. Yeah. So your target to beat is 10. I would say that I've rolled a 1 there. So if you wanted to, you could spend a plot point to either. Oh no, you couldn't. You need to have an asset in play to step it up. But I'm not sure. I mean, you could step down a complication. I'm not sure how you'd step down the security alarm going off on the dam with this. But in theory, you could spend a plot point to trigger that. But possibly not. It'd be a stretch narratively to do that.
Yeah, to isolate an opportunity of some sort. Yeah, and I'll not do that. What I'm trying to basically do is I'm actually going to leave all of the villagers by on this. I'm going straight for Jesus to try and make him kind of comfortable that we're here. We're here to help because, you know, his well-being, particularly his mental well-being and his health, is important to us, and of his crew. And maybe there are some of his crew that are recognize who I am, and you know they're kind of distracted by what is going on, and that gives a chance for other folk to kind of get away or do stuff that they want to do, or for the rest of the crew to swoop in and take advantage of them being distracted.
Cool.
Can I offer an assistance? So after I flared up and Bones has rappelled down, seeing he's heading for the leader, I'll be spinning round and trying to use the jet wash to push the raiders away from the leader, so that Bones has uninterrupted access, and that's a D10 relationship die from Bones, who once saved my life. So I've always got his back.
Cool. Excellent. Do you want to roll, Jack? Let's see what
sounds great. Okay, so
that's a 14, I think. So yeah, not quite enough for an excellent success. Or it's got a proper name. I can't remember what it is. But you have definitely beaten them.
Yeah, and I think I've got a D8 effect die in play as well.
Yeah. So that can be enough to take out one of the D8s. If you want, you could narrate that D8 is Jesus that you've taken out, depending on how you want to narrate it, or it could just be the Raiders' crisis pool goes down by D8.
Yeah, no, that is Jesus. As I'm going up to him, it's like I've got a very kind of warm, comely kind of bedside manner almost to him, and it takes him by surprise in some way. And as I go over with my bag, I put my hand in my pocket, and I've got my thermometer, which is really actually just a sharp knife in the other end, and I slice him in the neck, and he drops.
Lovely. There's plot twist from Bones there.
Oh, but I can't see that.
Excellent. Yeah. The rest of the Raiders are so far like distracted and don't maybe realize this has happened, but the next time things go bad for them, they might realize just how bad they are. So that dice pool stays at a D8, D6. Daredevil, you get to choose who goes next. Your only choice really is the crisis pools.
Yeah, I think the flooded town, we've not really heard much from what's happening from there, so I think that should go next.
That can do. And actually, just sometimes these crisis pools will attack you. I'm just conscious, Jag, I don't think you offered any help to that. Sorry, that makes it sound like you were being unhelpful. If a crisis pool attacks one of your team, you can offer to help them, if you see what I mean, as well. So maybe you weren't being unhelpful. Maybe you were just saving up your assistance for that. I think the flooded town is an excellent one to go for. I think that given that it's not really been tackled, the action that I've got two options. I can just spend an action, not roll any dice, and the crisis pool just grows and gets bigger, or I can target one of the hammerheads. I think given that the flooded town has sort of not been tackled by you yet, it's just going to get worse. So the lowest dice in that pool will be stepped up. So instead of being a 5d6 pool now, it's 4d6 and 1d8. And that will keep growing until you tackle it and it attacks. So the flooded town, I think you can just see, we maybe see it on wildcards readout. You've probably got another window open of the 64 or whatever on your laptop, and you can see there's some like environmental readings from the dam that shows that the water's going even further. There's some that it's about to hit the sewage system and back up into there. So, and all these desperate villagers are still like waving fabric, going, why aren't you rescuing us? Are they hammerheads? Isn't that what they're meant to do? Did everything except that? Well, So yeah, that's the flood of town. We've
Yeah,
still got opportunistic raiders.
Yeah, I was going to say the backwash has probably blown away a lot of the tear gas now, so we can see the raiders emerging out of it and what they're up to.
Cool, yeah, indeed. And again, they are going to they're going to just sort of regroup and readjust themselves. And we see them beginning to form up. They so far haven't noticed that Jesus is down. And so we see one of the trucks is filled up with villagers, and it's like there's a tap on the back and it starts to drive off. And there's a like cheer and firing in the air. So that pool is back up to 2d8 now with that.
What's happening with the dam though?
What's happening with the plot? Well, this security breach alarm has triggered indeed, and we see from within the dam interior a new squad of THT security led by Hector Rodrigo, their chief of security, a new NPC who's arrived, a huge sort of tattooed, probably recruited from the gangs of Rio de Janeiro to head this up. A mean man, looks like he could crush the rifle in his huge hands, is leading a team as they barrel round a corner and probably coming almost face to face with Daredevil, as they're going to just try and target you. So you're facing a squad of security goons. It's up to you how you defend yourself, and you roll first because you set the target number basically for me to try and beat, if that makes sense. So build it's a normal dice pool like before. So just build it as is.
Definitely. Well, you'll have to tell me if this is a bit of a reach or not, but I'll lay it out for you and then you let me know. So I'm thinking of going physical.
Yeah.
And I can't really go like re-recovery would be too much of a stretch, even for me. I can't face doing it. But I'm going to go physical. I'm going to go with retired Olympic skier. And I'm going to go with mechanic in that I'm going to pull off a couple of bits of pipe or rebar or something as makeshift skis. And looking over the edge of the dam, it's just like Sochi and the ski set. And I'm going to like quickly strap some bits of metal to my feet and try and ski away down the dam and into the try and grab the emergency exit on the way that's down by the water level.
Excellent.
Is that too much? Or
I can't believe you. I can't believe you've been asked.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, your game on it. That's fine. Yeah, if it's the other way around, I'd be going what?
Yeah. You don't put Chekhov's skiing experience doesn't come into it. You've got to use that thing. So if you build your dice and roll and set me a target number to beat.
Sure. Okay. I'll drop it. I'll ask the Hammerheads. Well, what's the air velocity? What's the wind speed direction? To try and get some help dice as I'm looking down at the winds are whistling past the top of this dam.
The only person who can help you actually is Bones.
Yeah, right.
So
Bones
can also offer you some IT network support dice because you could be tapped into the Hammerheads instruments remotely. There's 2d6 in that pool at the moment.
Cool. Can I take one of those d6 then? Is that
yeah?
I'll do that then. Yeah. I've got my ski goggles have actually got a hood that comes up with like some overlay with like little arrows for wind speed and stuff like that. And then I just launch myself, much to the surprise of the security team, over the side of the dam as they all rush over to the barrier to see what's happening.
So you can get an assist from me.
I'll roll it in. You can do it. Yeah, go on, Jack.
Yeah. So as Jesus drops, there is a kind of a panicked, almost theatrical, dramatic, made for TV kind of, oh no, man down, man down, man down, and it's almost enough to distract some of the security guard to say, "What? Hang on, the leader's down. What? The other leader?"
Yeah, they notice the commotion. They notice the raiders. So, what dice will that be? That'll be your relationship with Daredevil.
That is a D6.
Okay, do you roll on the D6? Just in case you.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to increase your total, but it's.
Yeah.
It all feels good, doesn't it? So I've got to be at a target of 14 to try and affect you, right? So you've got this down quite a bit. It's only at 2d8. You get the D6 security breach alarm is going to be in there as well, and I'm afraid Hector is a D10 NPC. Big Hector. So they've got to be 14 with this. And
Pitiful. You could use all 4 of the dice. You're still
yeah, still not enough. Yeah, with a 7, that is certainly not enough. I mean, I've rolled a 1 as well. So if you wanted to, you could step down that security alarm.
Yeah, I think actually they probably don't see where I've gone once they've gone over. So he cancels the alarm, thinking like the poor fool like jumped to his death once he saw us coming. Like, because Hector's so convinced of his own terrible reputation that people would rather fling themselves off dams than face him.
Yeah. There's a like cheer from the security team, high fives all around, and Hector radios in, and the thing starts missing. They're still on high alert though. The complications are a little bit weird when they step down to a D4. They step down to a D4, but that dice gets rolled with the player's pool once, and then it vanishes, if you see what I mean. But when it gets rolled in your pool, you get a plot point. Basically, whenever you roll a D4, you'll get a plot point because they're rubbish. But that's where it fits. So they're still on high alert, but Hector's radioing in to stop it. And we see, I think with that roll, you sort of catch the exit and like ski round and find yourself. I'm thinking maybe you find yourself in there's some like huge drainage pipes that aren't in use here that you can be slaloming down with these makeshift skis that you've got from there. So that's the round. Just work out where we are. We've got a flooded town where the villagers are getting increasingly unhappy that they're not being rescued. Maybe that will escalate further. We've got some opportunistic raiders that are having some success, but their leader, Jesus, has been taken out. And also, we seem to have penetrated into some of THT's officers in order to tackle the emergency pump failure. Flooded towns at 46 1d8. The raiders and the pump failure are both at 2d8. Start of the round, Daredevil, do you want to decide who's up first?
Yeah, it's very tempting to just go me. But as I've already rolled, I think what we'll do is just before I like go into the tunnels, because then like radio signals might be lost or whatever, I'll phone into Chewie and say we need to do something about the town. No one's gone there. I can't even see the doctor from here. I don't know what's happening up top now. It's down to you, Chewie.
Roger, loud and clear, boss. And I'll trust to Bones' ability to walk out of anything looking photogenic and hop the throttle up towards the town. And what I'm looking for, rather than start filing random people into the Hammerhead, which will take too long, what I'm looking for is to find their emergency responders, get down there and establish a kind of link up with them.
Nice.
Excellent. So make contact with the people on the ground that you can do it. Yeah, because there are some people trying to corral them who and now try to do it quite quietly because the raiders noticed they were doing it. And so you can spot there's the occasional flash of a red cross on something. So I'll roll my target. It's 46 and a D8 at the moment.
Yeah, not feeling optimistic about this.
So 12 is your target number to beat.
Okay.
From that. Again, I've rolled a 1. I don't think there's a lot you can do with it. A reminder, you can spend a plot point to just create an asset, which will be at D6 if you want to say, oh, there's something useful here, or first responders, for instance.
For now, I'm going to figure that. So basically, I'll land next to their first responders who are on the top of a multi-story car park. So by the ramp, they've got their barrier with a very stressed-looking local police officer on it, and a mix of their kind of control vehicles. And I touch down on the end, the hammerhead, putting a few cracks into the old fading concrete, but thankfully not collapsing, and pile out at speed, demanding to know who's in charge here, and then start with my aerial view of them that I had, pull up my tablet, start showing them pictures, showing them maps, giving them sort of advice like that. So I'm going to build a pool with a D6 social, a D8 logistics, I think, because this is about organizing stuff. And I'm used to sort of describing things from the air, I guess, as a pilot. So be throwing that one in. So I'm at 2D8 and a D6. Unless anybody objects, I'm going to...
I might help if I may. It's only a D6 because Wildcard thinks that Chewie is a bit of a liability and probably takes too many unnecessary risks, which means I don't entirely trust him. But that does potentially mean I give him some useful info. Or give her some useful info. Apologies. So again, I've got some kind of info about the town. I've got some kind of info about the first responders they already have and what kind of their crisis protocols might be, just so they can cut through some of the chaff of the conversation. But I do it in quite a disdainful, pretentious way.
Sure. And I would like to spend my plot point, what I have, to double up my pilot die, because I am, not so good at planning, but really good at describing things from the air, it seems.
Yeah. So you're, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, you do it.
Yeah.
Go for
So
it.
that's a 14 with a D8 effect die.
Fantastic. So you have, well, beaten the roll and got a D8 there. So that will knock down the D8 actually out of it. That'll take the highest dice out of it. As, yeah, your plan works, and these beleaguered sort of emergency crew begin to sort of jump into life a little bit and begin trying to assist you from there. So that pool is down to 46 again. Cool. Daredevil, who's up next?
Me. So I'm going to head in, and I've kind of looked at things. I've checked in the information that I've got from Wildcard and stuff, and we kind of liaise. And I say, okay, like obviously the automated breakers have jammed, and there's kind of like a cut scene of Wildcard like pressing the button to make it do the thing of like via remote signal, but it's like it's just not. There's like an error message coming. I was like, oh, I've got to get in there. I guess I could pull up my big spanner and stuff, and I'm rush through the tunnels. So I'm going to use my mechanics, and I'm always weighing up the options. So between myself and Wildcard, him doing the technical stuff and me doing the actual physical stuff, we're going to try and free up the pumps. So I'll be using my physical, my mechanic, and my always weighs up the options.
Excellent.
To kind of like do the arms and legs bit that needs doing.
Cool. Let me roll your target dice. You need to include a D4 in your pool as well, remember, because the alarm is still, it'll be there for D4. You do get a plot point for that though. And your total is, your target is a 9 to get for this.
I don't know whether Wildcard you want to add in a bit of help, because we were sort of liaising together to do that. If that makes sense.
I already helped Chewie this round, so I don't think I can.
Oh, right, okay.
You can't,
fair enough. Yeah, and I'm probably out of contact with this, so that's fine. I'll just roll it. Not a problem. Yep. So I've got a 12 with 2 of my dates, and the other one can be the effect die.
Excellent. Yeah. So that D8 will knock it down. So that crisis pool, emergency pump failure, is down to 1D8. However, I am going to give you a plot point to trigger that 1 that you rolled to get another complication in, just as the security breach alarm fades. I think that you are able to get these breakers working and get the pump flowing. But the complication I'm going to give you, you've had to sort of, I'm picturing you've had to sort of like crawl through some like the modern day, the postmodern dam equivalent of Jeffrey's tubes to get through and do it. And I think you maybe realise that maybe this and the place you skied in on is part of the drainage system.
Yeah. I mean, you said unused, but what you meant was it was just because the breakers were jammed that the water wasn't coming through it. And
yeah. As you look, you can see like the water mark where it would be, like well above your head. Actually, it seemed really spacious.
Algae, like
this huge cylinder. That has loads of space in it. Oh, wait a minute. So yeah, I'm going to create a flooding complication that just starts at D6, but it will. I'm going to set it up so that as time passes, it is going to increase and do that. So you'll have to tackle that. You can't tackle complications directly. You have to tackle them by waiting for me to roll 1s and spending plot points to take them down by activating drainage stuff and things like that. So we'll work it out in narrative. But as you say, your breakers are fixed. It begins to drain down. But the area that you're in, you notice your feet are wet as it begins to fill up. Cool. Who's up next, Daredevil?
well, I'm tagging in wild cards because I'm saying like everything's looking good here, and doing like a sort of like Norman Collier style, like the microphone keeps cutting in and out. But
Yeah.
I managed to get the message across to wild card that the breakers are down, so it's down to him again to do some of the tech stuff to help with this flooding.
Cool, go for it.
All right. Yeah, I think it's time for some good old fashioned kind of hacking. So with I've got enough kind of systems knowledge that I got from that panicked systems operative that I'm able to kind of patch into the dam itself now. And probably I had to get we kind of quickly flash back to Daredevil having to plug in some kind of physical USB stick into something to give me actual physical access on site that will hopefully enable me to take this home. So I think I'm going to use mental. I think there's always a way in or a way out. I think I'm going to need that first one to get this dam operational, and potentially Daredevil is going to need a way out once this is all up and running. And I think my network specialist training package is almost certainly relevant here because it's their network I'm patching through to get these pumps up and running. Does that all sound all right?
That's all great. Let me roll my difficulty. I'm going to include the flooding in this because it's added a layer of panic as they've realised the breakers are on again. And I'm also going to add in that we've got Piotr, the dam manager, is now actively trying to resist your hacking. The good news is he's only a D6. But you notice there is somebody else trying to undo some of your code in here desperately. His 1D6 middle management stooge is going to work in there. From there, as it's him telling like the IT guys to try and sort it as effectively as you'd expect. So your target number is, when it pops up, a 12.
All right. Yep, I'm using stuff I'm pretty good at, so let's see how we go. All right, yeah, I think I can use my 8 and my 4 and then my D10 effect die here.
Yeah, you have to beat it. That's the only thing. So as it stands, that won't be enough. You can spend a plot. You can spend a plot point to add an extra dice into it, so that would get you 16. But that would mean your effect dice would be the default D4, so it would just step down one of the dice.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go with it.
There's always an assist.
Yeah, we did get an assist. So I'm happy for you to.
Yeah, I think there's probably some villagers that having floored Jesus, Bones is starting to make his way around and just make sure that they're good and in good condition. And one of them is probably somebody who works at the dam and notices that there is this stuff that's going on, and he says, and it gives me some information that I can pass on to you to relay back to you. And I know that you're probably going to be distracted by those tunes that you play, those banging, kicking. Was it rock? Is it hard house? I don't know. It's this new young person's kind of music, and that might distract you. So it's like, okay, focus. This fellow, Andre, is telling me that this is important for you to be able to do this. Don't forget about the blue switch. The blue switch. That's the one that's colored like water, because it's a dam. Goddamn. And take a D8.
Yeah, do you want D8 separately? We'll see if we get F1 on.
God, all right.
I see that, but that does open up the possibility, though, that you could spend a plot point to make your total 16 if you wanted to, and then get a D8 effect dice, if that makes sense.
I also have another option. Sorry to get all analysis paralysis. There's always a way in or a way out ability has as its kind of special extra thing. I can spend a plot point to re-roll all my dice when I align with my true nature.
Yeah, go for it.
So I think what we see is that I'm, a little bit flawed by this pump dam security system, which is maybe a little bit more advanced than I thought. But I've got some of my old black market kind of hacking programs that I'm able to execute, that I kind of, get out of the part of my computer that I swore I'd never go to again. And hopefully these will make the difference.
There's a memory stick with some masking tape on it or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Wiggle it about a bit and see if it fits in. Yeah.
Let's see if it does indeed make the difference.
Yeah, reroll them all.
Oh no, still not great. Outdated software.
Yeah, you don't have that option to beat it anymore, do you? No.
No.
I mean, it's disappointing for me as well that you didn't roll any ones, I can tell you, if that makes you feel any better, because that means the flooding can't get any worse. But yeah, everything keeps getting shut down. I think we'll actually have, I think we cut to Piotr like rushing into the server room, and we just see like lots of these desktop monitors and stuff just being tipped over into the water, almost as if there's some records as well that he might want to hide while he's doing this. And so just stuff keeps shutting down as these servers are like just tipped into the water of the dam. We can see there's like a shredder running. He's got everything on that he just keeps feeding documents into as well. As we can see this happening. But yeah, as it stands, there's not the emergency pump failure is still at a D8, the flooding's still at D6, and the other pools are still as they are. And Daredevil, it's down to you. I think. Sorry, go on.
I just send a quick panic message through to Daredevil. Honestly, not much of it gets through because he's trapped in the dam, but it's something about physical interference or a more hands-on approach to infiltration, something like that.
Lovely.
Yeah, and I'll be like stifling a bit of a giggle, even though it seems a bit inappropriate. I'll say like, put the USB into the, just put it into YouTube, and like as you take out your hacker black software USB you thought was on there, there's a flashback to where I hilariously swapped it out for some K-pop videos, and that's why you couldn't hack it. It's not down to your lack of skill. It was just to me playing one of my practical jokes on you, which I'm now sort of beginning to regret as the water's getting up to my knees. But I'll try and radio in to Bones to find out what's going on. It's like, Bones, we need some help. What are you doing? You won't be big. I'll shout like, you best not be pouncing around in front of cameras. We need some help. God damn it.
Oh, well, Bones, what are you going to do? Who are you going to target?
I'm going to target the flooded town. I'm going to target the flooded town, and I've been observing what's going on with the villagers, and it's one of those kinds of like I need to try and work out to do a proper diagnosis of this situation, and he's kind of mentally kind of attuned to what's happening, and he's trying to calculate all the different things that might possibly happen that he needs to do to make a very quick judgment about what's the best thing for them to do. And there are a bunch of villagers there that clearly are desperate to get out of and have an opportunity to get away from the raiders, but aren't really sure where to go. So he's going to use his crowd control training package to send them down to support their friends down in the town to get away from the flooding.
Fantastic. I'll roll your target because it's 46 you're rolling against. Here. 12 is what you need to beat there.
Okay. And because his distinction is that he notices everything, he realizes that is the place that they probably ought to want to head to, and not knowing anything about this place but itself, but knowing the lie of the land and this kind of stuff, he knows where they should probably start focusing their efforts. And the target is 11. That's not enough, is it?
No,
it's not. Again, you could spend a plot point to include an extra dice and get a D4, and you'd stack one of those D6s down.
Can I add in my helping dice? I don't know if it's...
Yeah, you can do it. I think we've got out of the rhythm a bit of the helping, but yeah, we should do it before we roll.
We should do it before we roll, but
yeah.
I actually narrated it. I just forgot to say it was supposed to be a helping die as well, because he does actually owe me big. That is the tagline for my relationship with Bones. So I had to add that, like the fact that he knows that he's got to like step up and do something because he owes me, and this could be his last chance to stay on the Hammerheads. He's going to spur him on. So you get a D10 from my relationship.
Oh wow, that makes all the difference. It does make literally all the difference. There's a D10 and a D10 too. That's 13. That beats your 12, and it gives me a D8 pool.
A D8 effect. So you're able to get rid of one of the dice. The flooded town is down to 3d6. Indeed. From there, we're just about on the hour mark. So that's, I think, all of the Hammerheads have been. Chewie, you still get a chance to help. In the second round, we're gonna, rather than go through the crisis pools, we're going to take a quick break now. Everything seems to be going so well. Everything's under control in this flooding situation, but we'll be back in but a few moments for the viewers at home. but we'll take 5 or 10 to get a drink and get refreshed, and then we'll see if this crisis will escalate some more. See you in a few. Welcome back. Where our Hammerheads, to Brazil, where our Hammerheads are saving the flooded town of Santa Cristobal. Well, or they've done less saving the flooded town of Santa Cristobal and more trying to get the emergency dam pumps sorted and dealing with some of the opportunistic raiders that have come. They've already dealt with the leader of the raiders, Jesus. Bones disposed of him in a not very Hippocratic oath way in the background. But everything seemed to be going so well when we took a break. Reminder though that we went halfway through the round and all of the crisis pools still have to act. I'm going to make you choose, Daredevil, what order they go in again.
I love choosing. Hooray! Good.
So town raiders or pumps.
I think the Raiders are in a pretty sorry state, so we'll start with them as an amuse-bouche to the baddie scenes.
Excellent. Well, they do look a little bit bedraggled and loose, but we see there's another 2 trucks sort of pile round the windy road down to the village, though, as they get some reinforcements. And we see these the ones that are coming out now, they've got like belts with grenades on, and clearly some sort of they bring out a big pack of gas masks as well. Old World War II gas masks, since the tear gas was there. They've brought some supplies. So they step up their lowest dice by 1 without rolling. So that's now a 1d10, 1d8 pool. So it's become a little bit more threatening than that. But yeah, as it is, they're not actually. Go on.
Sorry, no, I was just going to add in like that. Well, we're following on from there with what's happening in the town, because obviously that's a backdrop to the town itself. How are the people there reacting to this new set of trucks turning up?
There's a little bit more panic there. I think what the town crisis is going to do, though, is actually going to target Bones, because as you're sort of maneuvering around, maybe there's some makeshift sort of canoes that you're using to get about there. You notice the pumps have been switched on now. So actually there's a bit of a back current flowing in this town. And as you're trying to get the people organized in the right places, you find that there's actually quite a strong current underneath you that's going to try and sweep you away into the obviously very dangerous filters that they've installed on the dam back to make sure that nothing goes back into that dam that might damage it, like bodies or dead animals or people or anything. So it's actually
on my body.
Yeah, it's actually going to target you, the dam pump. So how do you defend against this raging torrent that is going to drag you back into the pumps? You need to build your pool first.
And I'll offer a help to you if you wish, Jag. Just pull me in as part of your description if you want.
Yeah, okay. So I can well believe that I can feel. I'm a doctor, you know. My body and I are one, and I can feel the change in the currents and all the rest of it, and suddenly it heightens my physical senses, and that's a pitiful D6. Cool, but I'm using my physical attributes to do that. But what it does do is it triggers a response of, hang on a second, I need to get to land. And I've been in these situations. I've been trained about, I wasn't really paying that much attention, but I have been trained to do things from going from land to water and back and that kind of stuff. So this is a kind of a marine recovery, literally. I expect it's going to be a recovery from a marine situation type of thing. But of course, I know that people are watching me. I know that a lot of the villagers have seen me and they have watched me for years, 20-something years, I have to say, on satellite dishes, and they really trust me, and I'm a beacon for them. I know that I can't let these people down because I'm an important person in their lives. They've never met me, and I've never met them, but they are really important to me. No, I'm really important to them. But of course, they're really important to me when the cameras turn up afterwards. And very stylishly, I puff up and pick up my rowing boat, my oars, and I paddle as fast as I can to the shores to get there. And one-handed, because the other hand is just making it very stylishly.
Fantastic.
With style.
So-
It's just not worth doing.
Build your pool and I'll target it then. So
And I'm going to
2d8 and
offer
d6,
you a
anyway.
help, sir, of a D10.
Yes.
Because in understanding that this backwash is occurring, from where I am on top of the multi-story car park, I can see where some of the worst rapids and undercurrents are. So I will quickly grab a nearby local radio wagon and flip it over to the Hammerheads channel and pass on that information to Bones. So that's the
Fabulous.
D10 for your pulsar.
Thank you. Bones does owe me big, and that is absolutely one way of making it work. 13
13
is
target.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm going to roll. I'm rolling 3d6, and I'm going to roll d6 for the flood as well. The chances of me getting a 13 on the two highest dice on this are slim, to say the least, though, aren't they?
You're facing an effective D10 as well, so make it good.
Yeah, it's you're defending, so the effect doesn't come into it. I just need to try and beat you. That's the this thing. No, I did pretty well, but no, yeah, you're able to easily resist this terrible current of that. I've rolled a 1 actually, so you could actually, if you wanted to, you could spend a plot point to step down that flooding if you can narrate it, but you don't have to. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, all of my fans, because they are that's what they are. All my fans see that I'm in some plight. They have no idea that I'm being supported by Chewie, and she's doing an enormously valuable job in helping me get through this. And so they step up their endeavors to make this work, and it just really is all hands literally to, well, not the emergency pump, but to the floods on this, and they do they push back the tide.
Excellent, excellent. So are you spending the plot point to put that down, or?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so flooding is down to 1d4. Daredevil, it's time for you to choose which would you like of the pump failure or the pump failure to act now.
I'll choose the pump failure.
Okay, so we cut to an engine room, not that far from you, but through lots of concrete, where we see Hector, this giant of a man, and Piotr as well behind him, turning this huge crank as they open up another valve. As going, he's in there, he's in there. The old man, the one with the weird skis. I thought he was dead. No, he's in there. As they release this vent, and suddenly a torrent of water comes from the other side as they try and target you. The pump is only a D8, but obviously Hector and Piotr are helping as well. Do you want to build your pool to defend first?
Defend, yes. Well, I'll remember the time from Sochi's the only winter coming. I can remember, like Calvary or somewhere.
Moscow?
Another time. That weird Winter Olympics we had was an odd year as well.
It surely qualified for one, I think. Yeah. Sochi was the only one who actually made the heats. But yeah.
I remember there was the freak heat wave, and all the snow on the ski slopes melted. There's just a torrent of water everywhere, and everybody had to swim their way out of it. So this is highly appropriate for me to use my retired Olympic skier to resist it. I'm also good at firefighting, which involves bursting into places or getting up things and fighting against backdrafts and stuff like that. So I'm going to say that kind of like experience is going to be getting out of emergency rooms where things have gone a bit awry, and I've got to rely on my physical attributes for this because I'm fighting against the tides of water that are coming towards.
Cool. You're going to be rolling a D4 for the flooding as well. You roll it in your pool, but you get a plot point for that.
Now, before I press the button this time, is there any helpage, or is it just me rolling?
Don't think there can be.
Nothing from anyone.
You could use. I mean, you could use resource. I guess.
I've already rolled. See, you only have a very short window of me before I play with pace and vim and vigor. So I get a 15 is my number to beat.
Right, to beat. Okay. That one, I'm actually not. Yeah, I'm not going to trigger that. I'm not going to give you. I can't really think of a complication that'll work with that. I'll just roll and see if you manage to deal with it. So we've got emergency pump failures on D8. Hector and Piotr are D10 and D6. Again, the odds aren't looking great for me to get a 15 with this, but you never know.
Who knows?
Who knows? Oh yeah, 13. It's not there. Do you want to describe your daring escape? Because that will also deal with the flooding. That complication will vanish. So you're no longer under threat with that.
Yeah, what they hadn't realised from the other side of the concrete walls is there's all kinds of like runoff and safety overflow chambers that you can get into if you're swift enough. And there was a kind of like one of those metal sleds you've got that you use for taking people downstairs if they've got disabilities. And I spotted that. I remember
An
the time
evac chair is the
yeah, that's it. Yeah. When I practiced for luge in Toulouse '63, this could be useful. So in fact, like pull out the evac chair and knock a couple of bits off with a hammer, and it's the perfect device to sort of surf down into one of the overflow chambers. So as the water's rushing past and would be taking off towards the town, there's kind of me holding onto a rusty pipe down this little side passage, just about staying till the main force of the water's gone.
Fantastic, fantastic. A daring escape. And we're back to the top of the round. Again, just to deal with it, the flooded village is still there. It's down to 3d6. It is draining, but there's still, obviously, the drains are backed up, and the village is still panicked and running around. A few of them are injured and not sure what to do. The raiders have got reinforcements. They're now a D10, a D8. And the emergency pump failure still needs to be resolved fully. It's a D8, which I think maybe will have, as you come out, and from the other side as Bones sees it, you see that there's some of the remaining rainforest logs have blocked the pumps, and so it's just not quite draining enough, and it's not going to get this like the creak as it rubs against these great big propellers or something that will do it. I don't know enough about dam engineering to run this scenario, probably, but we'll hope that our audience is as knowledgeable about the dam engineering as they are civil engineering as they are about the Winter Olympics of the 20th century, and crack on anyway. Daredevil, it's down to you as team leader. Who's going first?
So I've probably seen some of the old engineering works that have been disused but could be helpful in this situation. So establishing that I can probably use them and deal with this part of the problem myself. I'm conscious that the town itself needs saving and hasn't had much work done. So I'm going to patch myself through to Wildcard and say, look, I think you've done all you can from the technical point of view up here. I think the other guys need you. Can you head down and see what you can do to help out Christabel? Don't worry, I'll take it from here. I've got it all sorted.
Indeed, yes. So I'm going to try and help out with this flooded town and village problem. I think that I'm going to, if I may, I'm still kind of up in the hammerhead looking down on everybody. And what I think I want to do is coordinate the response on the ground by kind of using this kind of all-purpose broadcasting tool I have to broadcast audio to any kind of device that's still functioning within the village. So phones, radios, PA systems, maybe even if someone's got a particularly high-end fridge, anything that I can use to kind of get through to people and get them coordinated, send them towards either Bones or the first responders as coordinated by Chewie.
Excellent. Let's see how difficult that's going to be first. So 3d6 for the town is at the moment. That is an 8 is what you need to beat. Your target number.
All right. I think this is still a mental challenge because it's kind of the technical aspect of patching in. I think it's logistics because I'm trying to coordinate people. And it's maybe a little cheeky use of my distinction, but I do have everything is better with the soundtrack.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I could also justify there's a way in or a way out. So I don't think it's worth debating, but I'm going to do that if I may.
Yeah, distinctions are, smoker if you got them. You would expect to use them in a dice pool, so we're pretty free and easy about them.
Would you like an assist?
Yes, please, if you're offering. I'm feeling self-conscious after I didn't do anything useful last time.
So dependable wildcard, for that is my relationship, means that whenever he comes up on the channel and needs something done, knowing that he's not prone to flights of fancy and has our best interests at heart, I do him as quick as I can. So that will give you a D8 die.
Wonderful.
Is there a limit on assists?
No, more than one person can do it.
Definitely. I think I can live with just the one assist though. I think it's probably better to save that Bones if you're happy to.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. My role might belie that, but I think I've built a pool that I'm happy enough with. Yeah,
That's a solid pool.
16. So that is a great success, or whatever it's called in the system. I still haven't. I should have looked it up over the break. You've beaten it by 5, so that means that you can step up an effect dice if you want to a D10, which would be exactly as effective as having it as a D8, but it's the thought that counts, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, happy with that.
So yeah, do you want to narrate how this what happens here? That's going to knock the flooded town down to 2d6.
Yeah. So what the main thing I was aiming for, and the main thing I get, is that the little kind of pockets of villagers. So maybe we see, you know, a school teacher and some trembling school kids who have barricaded themselves inside a school. We see a few kind of older folks and supermarket workers who are kind of huddling in a supermarket, potentially, you know, in a place where they feel like they're safe, but are maybe just waiting for the flood to come to them. I'm able to kind of embolden them and give them the courage to push their way out and push their way towards the center, where either Bones and the kind of villagers that he's coordinating, or some first responders, can pick them up and pull them together. So instead of having lots of little isolated spots and people trembling in basements, the villagers of this place are able to kind of center themselves and end up in places that are well dammed to coordinate a proper recovery and evacuation from the town.
Excellent.
Could I also potentially spend a plot point to create an asset?
Yeah, you could do. Yeah, you can just do that. You don't need me to roll on anything. That just gets a D6 asset. What asset are you creating?
I was thinking, I quite liked when Shane brought in the first responders and our coordination with them. So I was thinking that maybe now we're working with them too, because we're kind of patched into their coordination systems, and we've proven that we can trust them. So we can have local first responders as a D6 asset that someone could call upon at some point. Yeah. And that could be police, fire brigade, medics, that kind of thing. Yeah,
there's just to put it on the table. If I roll a 1, now that's on the table, you can use that in your pools normally if you can narrate it in, and also it'll last sort of this scene. So it lasts sort of until we've done. If I roll a 1, you can spend a plot point to step it up if you can narrate how that gets more effective to a D8, D10, D12, or whatever. But yeah, I like that. So yeah, that's flooded town down to 2d6. Daredevil, who's up next then? Wildcard.
Then it's going to be Chewie, because she's the other one that's working with the townsfolk. So I want to see how that develops.
Okay, so when Wildcard started playing with the comms systems, the regional government coordinators, the ones who've been telling everybody not to go into the dam, the ones who are in THT's pocket, picked up on what was happening and are now blasting over the airwaves, telling everybody to stand down. Now, I've been taking the time to analyze their local comm setup, realizing that coordination and control is super important. So I'm going to issue the Hammerhead code phrase for us to switch channel. And then I'm going to take one of the local communicators, turn it to the channel that the regional coordinator is interfering on, ramp up the power, and put it on permanent squelch to effectively jam it out and prevent them from using the channel until they switch to another one.
Well, you're always dependable, and I think if you'll allow me to interject slightly, to give you my D8 help die, I think it's not a loud squelch, but it's that USB stick full of K-pop. I think that's the thing that's
even better. Even better.
So I'm going to really target. I'm going to include Piotr in here because he's stopped his IT management has stopped throwing laptops and stuff into the water to destroy the evidence, and he is now back to being online, trying to stop people interfere with the numerous open poor security Wi-Fi networks that are operating around this village that everyone's been in. So I'll put his D6 in again. So your target to beat, Shane, is just a 9.
Okay.
I've rolled a 1 as well, which might come back to bite me.
So I don't have a plot point, so it doesn't currently come back to bite you, you may be pleased to know. So I, noting I'm being assisted through K-pop, which is not a sentence I ever expected to utter in my life, isn't being a gamer great. It's a mental D8 and technical analyst D8. I'm also going to drop always got a wisecrack in, but I'll give you the wisecrack depending on whether I pass or fail, because it'll be different, if that's all right.
Nice.
And also, if nobody objects, I will dip into the Hammerhead for the last IT network support resource die.
Yeah,
go for it.
Just to, but what I'd like to do, I'd like to step my wisecrack down to a D4. because this is arguably not the time to be wisecracking in the middle of a civil emergency.
Yeah,
So
we cut back to like one of the villages with a broken leg that's in the middle of that, as you're like picking a track for it. Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that's
So, nice.
11. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also I've got a D8 effect die. Now, will Piotr remain as an NPC that can apply to the other crisis pools, or is it only for this crisis pool?
So NPCs can apply to other crisis pools as well, but you don't to sort of win the action scene. You don't need to defeat them, if you see what I mean. The crisis pools, like NPCs, don't get a turn.
Sure.
They're just sort of floating assets that can't be
Awesome.
changed.
No, handy, thank you.
So targeting NPCs isn't. I mean, you can if you want to get rid of them, but you don't need to, if you see what I mean.
That's
like
cool.
Bones did. It's the crisis pools that you think.
Am I right in thinking I can make a temporary asset sticky using a plot point?
You can. There isn't actually any need to, because the first responders will stay for the rest of the scene.
By scene, do you mean just this round, or
no? I mean they'll
right.
stay.
Okay.
They vanish when the sort of scene changes.
Right.
But in the game we're doing, they're not gonna narratively. They're not gonna like just leave when they. So that's well. I mean, what you can spend a plot point to add an extra effect dice. I should point out.
I can, but I don't need to because there's only 1d8 on emergency pump failure now.
Oh yeah.
So no, I will stop delaying in this Vim and Vigor session and just eliminate that pool.
Excellent. The pump failure stops and it begins to drain, and you can see that we're in time. This will now clear that immediate stuff, and it's solved the breach from there. We've still got the flooded town. We've still got the opportunistic raiders, and in fact, I am going to spend a D6 now to interrupt from my flooded town and let the raiders go next, because I can, and I think
because I can.
I think that we cut to a sort of hillside where we see the Hammerhead up there, with Chewie flying it, and we see the crosshairs of an RPG that they've somehow got hold of, homing on it, and the click of their trigger as they're trying to take you down. I think maybe a little warning light goes off somewhere in Chewie's like piloting, where it's showing that there's something's got you under attack, and we see this rocket launch. So how this works is they're attacking you. You need to roll to defend and make your pool first. You could use the Hammerhead if you wanted to. You're muted, Shane.
Thank you. I'm going to use the Hammerheads engines, my piloting skill. In fact, actually, I just realised I'm on the ground. The Hammerhead is currently being flown by Wildcard. I'm very sorry.
Okay, they'll target you then, Wildcard. As I said,
oh no.
You can use the Hammerhead's engines if you want instead of your attribute. That's the main thing, and you can use its distinction and yours.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I will. I'll use the Hammerhead's engines for this. Feels right for me to use I do have some Hammerhead pilot skill, which makes sense because I was left to do it. So I think I'll probably do that. And let's have a look. Can I use its broad spectrum sensors distinction at D8 to kind of probably preemptively avoid this thing?
Yeah. And you can use one of your distinctions as well. That's the advantage to being in a vehicle. You can use
right.
That's the thing.
Okay, nice one.
You can use either attribute you want. Your skill. They're not called skills. They're called training packages, and then both distinctions you can use.
Okay, cool.
I can offer you an assist if you want.
Yeah, I'll take an assist. I'm pretty worried about the consequences of this should it go badly.
Yeah, so I think Bones is kind of slightly concerned that Chewie isn't flying, having noticed that they're not in the Hammerhead, and that must only mean that Wildcard is at the helm, and he knows that Wildcard is frankly a troublemaker, and because Bones notices everything, he's scanning the skyline, scanning the horizons to say, where is he? Where is he? Where is the plane? How are we going to get out of here? What is our extraction? And where is that he's not a liability. He's a very good friend, but he can be a little bit clumsy sometimes. Where is Wildcard? He spots you, but before he spots you, he spots this this rocket launcher trained on you. Take a D8.
Thank you. I'm actually going to use my high-end criminal hacker distinction and gain a plot point by using it as a D4 here, because even in a situation like this where Wildcard is under significant physical threat, they're still trying to, look at another screen, hack into something, get ready to prepare for the next thing, because they
Playing
can't
magic on the other screen.
Yeah.
Another window.
Too much of a computer person to be able to focus on one thing at once, even when it's life
Yeah.
and death. So potentially going to cause myself some issues there.
Lovely. Ah, fantastic. So my target number is a 13 to beat. You did roll a 1 there, though. I may give you a plot point to create a complication there, but I'll decide after I've rolled this to target you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I need to get 13. I'm just rolling the raiders. I don't think either of the NPCs can help here. Let's see. Yes, 14. Now the good news for you is that I don't have an effect dice in that, so I can't. There's a limit to what I can do. What I can do though is give you some stress. Is what I'm gonna make it with this. So I think that it's gonna hit like a glancing blow. Maybe you just manage to dodge out of the way and it explodes, but you are rattled and shaken up inside this. I think we'll have your sort of laptop goes swinging this way and that from it, and we just see. I don't imagine that Wildcard is someone who wears the full sort of harness seatbelt, or that Chewie actually has it fitted so that anyone could ever wear it if they were piloting the Hammerhead. And so yeah, you're thrown. We see the Hammerhead's like sort of but before it sort of gyros and autopilot kicks in and it swoops back over it. But we then see Wildcard with a sort of black eye as you drag towards it, a bead of blood on that, and you're going to take I think you start with a D6 actually, physical stress.
Okay.
And that'll be included in rolls against you. See what you mean?
Right. Okay. Nice.
From that.
Well, not nice, but that makes sense.
Daredevil, you're up. You can decide who goes next, though.
Yeah, I think I've been doing some like things. I think I've solved the pumping problem. I don't realize that anything else happened. It's probably me that did it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So some of the tarpaulins and stuff I pulled out of the back of the storerooms I found, and maybe using bits of server out that have been followed. But I've made a windsurfing board to get me down to the town quickly. I'm remembering Sarajevo 78 when I took part in that. So I get down to the town to help, and I'm assuming already that the good doctor is going to be seen to people, but I'm perhaps not convinced that that's been happening. So I'll tag myself in to help. So I'm going to use my social skills, my crowd control, and the fact that I'm weighing up the options to sort of get everybody in triage. So I can see that there's some people need, like there's the guy with a broken leg, and there's some people need more urgent care, and there's maybe others. So just before Bones can act, I'm going to like set things up for him, basically, using that dice pool. I'm going to use one of our medical supplies resource pools as well, because I turn up somehow, despite everything that's happened to me. I've got a pack of medical supplies with me as well that's going to help on that.
Cool. So the flooded town is just at D6. So I'll roll and see what your target number is.
Yeah, I'll get a dice pool together while you.
It's 0 because I can't use ones. If you want to, I mean, you could spend a plot point to step up the first responders if they're stepping into D8. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll do that.
You need to win it. There's a bit of acceleration at the end
I've got paid a couple of points, so I might as well spend one for that.
Yeah.
And then I, funnily enough, succeed in my attempts.
Yeah, and that will resolve the crisis of the flooded town completely, as you might expect. So do you want to just put a bit of narration on that as how that looks? And
yeah, and it is indeed quite literally the first responders stepping up, and really like they had all the tools available to them. They know what they're doing. It's their people, but they just needed a bit of organisation because of all the tear gas and everything else that was happening and rockets going off. They just couldn't work out who needed help where and get. So all it took was a little bit of organisation from an old hand like me to just kind of get things set up nicely. And now I can I just sit back and let them do their thing, really look after themselves.
Excellent. I am going to give you a plot point, though, for that one that you rolled, as we cut back to this body lying in a pool of blood on the outskirts of the town from way back at the start of the adventure, as we see the like cigarette dangling out of one hand, the RPG sniper looks down comes down and discovers the body of Jesus and curses at the sky and swears vengeance, and all the raiders around start to like all shout and are even more determined to get you. So I'm going to add a vengeance complication, as they're all inspired by the brutal, cold-blooded murder of their leader. Something even they wouldn't stoop to.
That's when the drone shot above the town, so everything going well zooms in on the outskirts of town where Bones is.
Yeah, looking around. Yeah, Bones, you're up. The only crisis pool that's left is the opportunistic raiders whose leader you killed before.
It's fine. I'm there. I'm ready to sign signatures and all the rest of it. I pull up my kayak, park it carefully on the side of the shore, and straighten up my gear, and stride purposefully back up to the scene of Jesus' death. And I am absolutely confident that carrying my medical bag with me, and showing absolute sympathetic concern to all of the raiders that are there, who are as I come into it, it's like you must be grieving, you must be really sad. He was a good leader and all this kind of stuff. That this is sad times for all of you.
Well, let's see how hard they're going to be to blag.
Well, I mean, they're just dribbling back into the space where they are, because they've all been on their patrols and on their with my overladen medicine bag as I reach them, and a careful arm around the shoulder and a thud in the face. Bones is crunchy than they would expect, and he does it very stylishly. So,
well,
let's
see how stylish they are. Let me roll my difficulty first, because this could go.
You're wrong.
Then you can get your thing. We've got
horribly well.
I think they might fall for your kind doctor thing. Your target number to beat is 7.
Well, if it's not done with style, don't bother. This is, I think this is I'm going to make this a physical thing, really. That gives you a chance, fighting chance. And
appreciate it.
Can I roll in? Can I roll in my bag as emergency medicine? It's an emergency.
You're pretending to be an emergency medical person. I think that's fine. You got some credit for using marine recovery to recover yourself from a flood before, so yeah, I'll let you use the
okay.
emergency medicine.
That's where it is. I think that everyone else is occupied at this point, so I think I'm on my own as I literally waltz back into town, and approach them. So I have a D10 effect and a 12.
That D10 can knock out a D10 from them, putting them down to 1D8. So indeed, do you want to put a bit of narration on how you managed to get rid of a sizable number of these raiders and really take the wind out of their sails?
As I'm building up some momentum, going up along the cliff to where they are, it is incredibly. Yeah, I'm beginning to channel. In fact, I am. I'm beginning to channel Wildcard's appetite for music, and there is this kind of soundtrack that I start. It's a little bit Clockwork Orange and
Viennese waltz appears.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of distracts a few of them, draws them in closer, and he reaches the top, and he is his dominance at the top of the cliff, and yeah, it quells their lust for raiding at this point.
Excellent. And yes, they're down to 1d8, and they are now the only sort of crisis pool on the table. It is back to the start of the round. Daredevil, can you finally defeat the Raiders? They're on a 1d8. They are emboldened by vengeance, though, so that's an extra d6 they get. And you also have an asset of first responders that are a d8 if you want to bring them in, and any resources that you might still have from the Hammerhead. So Daredevil, who's up first?
I'm going to throw it up to the two team members. Actually, we'll turn off the K-pop and other stuff and waltzes and various other music that's going on as I flick us over to our original channel again. And I'll shout out to Wildcard and Chewie and say, look, but I don't know what Bones has been doing. Basically covered in blood and he's getting involved in all kinds of stuff. I could step in now, but someday I'm going to have to retire and one of you two is going to have to step up. So which one of you wants to solve this crisis with these Raiders? Who can de-escalate best? Who can maybe get them to see sense? Who is it?
I've got an idea. I can take that.
Let's go for it, Chewie. Show us what you got.
So having flagged Wildcard down for a pickup back in the Hammerhead, and we've built ourselves a good relationship with the first responders. So when we whack open the Hammerhead's ramp and yell at the local police, "There's trouble, get in," they don't hesitate. And as Bones has done what doctors do second best, I guess, with the people down there. The rest of them are starting to sort of mill round him. And behind them, into Bones's view, will come the Hammerhead, which is going to come in hard, fast, flare, drop with the ramp open, and have the police come out to arrest the remaining raiders if all goes well.
Well, let's see how hard it's going to be to do. D8 and the D6. 8 is your target number.
Okay, so I'm going to use the Hammerhead's engines because we're getting there quick again. I'm a Hammerhead pilot, and this is probably... I mean, I'm carrying passengers. I'm a commercial pilot, arguably, but it's also a bit by the seat of the pants.
You can have a D8 dependable from me because I know you'll get this done.
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah, so you throw your authoritative weight behind, I assume. So yeah, all good. So do you know that was close? I got a 9 with a D10 effect die.
Yeah, which is enough to defeat the final crisis pool. Do you want to just put some narration out of that, Shane? How did the police respond?
Yeah, so basically the Hammerhead just flares up and crashes down hard. And as they spin round, the police come down. They've got their weapons drawn, yelling for the raiders to stand down and desist. And then one of the raiders, this old grizzled raider who's been around with them for a long, long time, looks around at the devastation and has one of those "are we the bad guy" moments and just tells his people to lower their weapons. And they're taken into custody as the waters begin to drain from the bodies of their friends.
Yeah, I think in the documentary that's made of this rescue, there's some heavy editing to make it clear that Bones isn't the bad guy, because it looks pretty bad. And the unedited footage is going to be pretty grim, I think, from that.
The shot of the character walking away is from like the earlier B-roll. It's like... Wait a minute, it says he walked away from town, but he's walking towards it. I don't understand this documentary.
Lovely. Fantastic. So you have solved the burst dam. Just to round it off, because you have succeeded in it, and we've done like one big action scene, let's just have a little recap. So as you're sort of as you're back at base, maybe at Hammerhead base, let's just have a little moment where we see each of you, each of our Hammerheads relaxing, responding to anything that came up in the mission, just as a little vignette to sort of wind it up. And again, we'll go like Gaz, Shane, Jag, Alex. So jump in when it's your turn to do it, and then I'll round it off with that.
Yeah, it's back in our luxury headquarters, probably with all kinds of consoles and stuff like that. Big open plan thing. I'm thinking Tracy Island in my head, but that might mean something to some viewers and nothing to others. So I'm sat there and I'm speaking through like one of the monitors to my wife Agneta, and going, "Yeah, don't worry. That was definitely the last mission last time. That was definitely I'll be coming home soon." I was like, oh no, wait, Tango 6. And one of the other guys is like got an orange flashlight that he's got in the background. It's a Tango 6. I've got to go. And there's just this sign of this woman silently screaming at the screen at me as I like the chair swiveling around as I run off to pretend to go to another emergency.
Lovely, fantastic. Shane.
So at this point, we can see Chewie sat playing with one of those grip strengthening things, looking at the news, and a nearby phone rings. She picks it up, and somehow Piotr has gotten the number and starts to just rip into her for breaking his comms and overdoing it. And she just looks around, almost hangs up, and then notices the MP3 player, which belongs to Daredevil. And she repeats the catchphrase, which I forgot to do, the wisecrack, and to Piotr, and says, "Your call's important. Please hold," and puts it right next to the K-pop speaker.
Lovely, lovely. Jag, what do we see of Bones? You're muted at the moment. So.
As our illustrious leader has declared, that he's covered in blood and has gone for a long hot shower. It merges into the communal space in their very stylish dressing gown, and with a bottle of the finest San Cristobal brandy, pours a glass for every one of his colleagues and says, "Trust me, I'm a doctor."
Excellent. And finally, Alex, what do we see of Wildcard? Yeah.
Maybe as the night's winding down a little bit and the brandy glasses are empty, we just see Wildcard and Chewie just still sat at the table, and Wildcard turns to Chewie and says, "Julia, I think maybe something of an apology is in order, or at least maybe we should go back to square one. I thought that you took needless risks and only live for the adrenaline, but today I saw that you do everything you do for a reason, and I'll value your opinion, your contribution more going forward. I hope you can forgive me."
Excellent, excellent. And we'll just have this one little cutscene at the end where we see it's a top secret government building somewhere in I imagine the Hammerheads headquarters is somewhere like Brussels, isn't it? It's like a sort of EU thing, and we see that there's a long line of potential agents, and we see this sort of congratulations, you're through to the last round. It could be that all 5 of you become new Hammerheads agents, and we have a number of teams available. Daredevil needs some more on his crew, and it sort of pans back, and we see the tattooed fingers of Hector has managed to somehow get through all the screenings for that. As you'll see, we take people from all walks of life. He just crunches his knuckles into the microphone from there. So thank you, guys. We've come to the end of our one-shot of Hammerheads, Cortex Prime. So make sure to like and subscribe. Check out the rest of the channel for the other games that we have. We might try doing some other Cortex Prime in the future. There's a wide range of games available for it. Be sure to check it out online and get a copy of it and play. And check out the rest of us. Remember to like and subscribe. And we've got lots of stuff. And we'll see you shortly for another game.
Cheerio.